Hello, and welcome to Dickinsons' Real Deal. On this show, we help members of the public get the very best price for their antiques and valuables. They have a choice. They can sit down with one of our regular dealers. They're going to try and buy their treasures on the spot today for cash. The alternative is to place the same goods into a local auction in the hope that you will get a little bit more money there. Today the show comes to you from Howell's Girls' School in Denbigh, North Wales. A nice crowd of people have turned up. They're eager to do business. Do you know what they're here for? They want to walk away with the real deal.
The dealer's den is full of hopeful sellers. Will this one walk away happy if David Tupman makes an offer on a family heirloom?
What have you brought in?
Three Russian items, actually. Pre-revolution, I believe.
And how did you get them?
Well, they were in my parents' house, and then when they died, I just took them over.
And do you know how they got hold of them themselves?
No idea.
Okay. Well, let's have a quick look. We've got a pillbox, and if we look very carefully, it's got a pretty indistinct mark underneath. So it's silver and then cloisonné enamel on top. Also a little butter knife, perhaps, similar sort of mark. The mark is much more distinct on the knife, and I believe this mark is between 1908 and 1917. It's the mark just before the Revolution. A little bit of damage to the enamel on that. And a salt spoon, all pretty much the same period, just pre-revolution. So there'd be sometime between 1900 and 1917, probably about 1910. Yeah. Have you got some sort of idea about how much you want for them?
Oh, I'm leaving it to you.
All right, okay. Slightly, don't really know what to offer, but I'm going to sling some money on the table so we see how we go.
Right.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120 pounds. Are we miles away?
I think they're worth more than that.
Well, I think they probably are. Okay, I'll stick 140, 160. What do you think, Aaron?
Right, we'll go with that.
Okay,
yes.
Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you
for bringing them.
Thank you.
So our seller stood his ground and it paid off. Next up, a serene portrait has arrived at Mike's table. But does it signal the calm before the storm?
And you brought along this painting of a wistful lady, signed by
Arthur Trevor Haddon, I believe.
Oh, well, you know more than me. You've looked at it longer than me, haven't you? Yeah?
Yes.
It's dated somewhere, isn't it? What's the date? 1890 something? Yeah. OK. Where did you get it from?
An aunt gave it to me. She had heard about somebody finding money behind oil paintings after the war.
Yeah.
And she went round the junk shops and bought a couple of pictures.
Right.
Once she'd taken the back off.
And there was no money?
No money. She said, well, you can have it.
Oh, that's a lovely story. Was it in that condition when she gave it you, or has it deteriorated over?
Deteriorated. It slipped down. This is the actual frame.
Yeah.
But it slipped down over.
And what about these? Have you had a cat or something, or?
No.
These rips and tears. This does need some tender love and care and attention. So I reckon that would cost me about £300, including the frame, to restore. So bear that in mind when I offer you money. There's £100 there. £200. You're looking impressed.
Well, I'm coming in here because I know that you're feeling a little bit nervous. And let me just make one thing clear here, Michael. 150 to 2 is what they say, 2 to 4, and I say forget that, it's worth more than that. We've started off with £200, and we need to get several £100 more on the table, and as the Terminator says, I'll be back.
Bear in mind, I said it would cost £300 to restore and put right. So I've got to add that onto. So David's quite correct. It is worth several £100s. If I offer you £300, £380 down. That gives you a good return for a picture that you don't want.
I'm going to say to you, it's not enough money. We want more than that, Michael, or we are going on a nice time to auction together, unless Michael gets quite a bit more money down.
Well, already if I put £400 down, I've passed every valuation. I don't want to give much more for the picture because I don't think it's worth much more. I think I would ask £1,000 for it and I'd willingly take 800.
OK, I've come back in here because we've heard what Michael's got to say. I agree with him. £1,000, £1,400, £1,500 retail, probably. So I'm going to say, if you're not going further, Michael, I've got to do my job. I know you want to buy it, but this lady, I've got to take her to the auction and I've got to get as much money for her as possible.
And I've got to think about Jeanette, and I'd hate her, right, to have the upset of it not selling.
OK.
£300 to restore, £200 profit. There's £500.
Right. Are you stopping at £500? Because at £500, I would still advise to go to auction.
Right, OK then. What I'll do is I'll put down another £100. There's £600
OK.
there.
I believe the money that's on the table is now sensible. And I'm going to say to you, take that money, because I think it's right. And I still believe Michael can make a handsome profit. So I'm going to say, thank you, Michael. Take the money, darling, and take your 600 quid home, not your 200.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
David was determined to get the right price for Jeanette, but did Mike pay over the odds? Find out later. Now it's over to Tim and the first item to arrive at his table.
You brought a Bible box in.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about where you acquired it from?
Well, it was a friend of the family. He was a retired gentleman. He passed away a few years ago. And when his son was sorting out the house and belongings, he asked me if I wanted to buy anything, and I purchased this off him because it was a piece I'd always liked.
Right. And do you use it? Do you put your Bible in it?
I'm afraid not. No, it just sits in the wardrobe upstairs, away from the children.
Right.
I don't want them to damage it, and it's just I've got nowhere to display it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's quite early, is this? I mean, it's 17th century, you know. So, big family Bible would have sat in there.
That's right.
And there would have been a lock on here.
Yes.
So that it would have been locked to air. And obviously these will relate to the original owner.
Yes.
And it's oak. Now that there is the original hinge on it.
Yes.
That is a replacement hinge on it. And we've got a little bit of cracking here. Can I ask you what you paid for it 4 years ago?
Not a lot. No, I
Not
wouldn't
a
like
lot.
to say, 'cause,
you don't want to tell me. You don't want to share that information
with
me.
No.
Right. And did you buy it because you liked it?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
And it was just going to be sold to a general dealer.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd grab it because I like the piece.
Yeah. I mean, it is what they call in antiques. It's a country piece.
Yes. Yeah.
So this restored and all waxed up and that would be fantastic in a country antique dealer's shop. You could imagine it in the Cotswolds or somewhere like that.
Yes.
So I'm going to make you an offer.
Okay.
See whether it's been a good investment or a bad investment. £50, £100.
Not a bad start.
Right. We're changing colour now.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
120.
No.
140.
No. I couldn't let it go for that.
150.
No, sorry.
No?
No.
Right, if I take that away... £160.
No, I'd need at least another couple of pink ones on there.
And a couple of big ones?
Yeah.
So £260?
We'd be very close then.
This is my final offer.
Okay.
180.
No, thank you.
No?
No.
You sure?
I'm positive.
I can't tempt you.
No, sorry.
Right, well...
To auction?
To auction it goes, yeah.
Oh, thanks for your offer. Anyway.
Thank you very much, Mike.
You're welcome. Thank
you. You do need to tell me now how much it cost you.
Well, I paid £100 for it.
£100. Well, that's a fair price.
Yes.
And you'd have had a good profit there.
Mike's confident his Bible box can do better, but is he right? What will it make under the gavel of auctioneer Simon Bauer? Mike's wife Cynthia is about to find out.
180 was turned down on the dealer's day by your husband. He sent it to sale, he sent you along to look after his interests. 200 is the reserve. Is it going to make it?
100 bid, at 100 bid. On the Bible box at 100. At 100 bid, 120, 140, at 140, 160, 160 bid. At 160 bid. On the Bible box at 160, 180, 180, 90, 190, 200.
200. It's on the reserve at 200.
The Oak Bible box, not dear, but it's on the market mine. At £200, all done then at 200.
So the gavel has gone down at £200. Now, this is interesting. Take away the commission, that leaves you with 180. Your husband, Michael, was offered 180 on the day, so they were both the real deal. But the question is, are you happy?
I am, yes.
Will Michael be happy?
I hope so.
She's hoping so, otherwise she's not going home.
Tim's offer was right on the money. Welcome back to Howell School in Denbigh, North Wales. We often have some intriguing items on the show, and none more so than the curiosity that's arrived at Helen's table.
Where did you get such a strange thing?
Well, I'm pretty certain that I bought it in a job lot of old pewter in
a while
an auction
ago,
house.
a long time ago?
About 8 years ago, I think, something like that.
Yes. And have you any idea what it is?
I understand that it's an Edwardian skirt lifter.
A skirt lifter?
Yes.
You're right, it is for lifting your skirts.
Yeah.
So it would have been used, presumably, in a ballroom.
Yeah.
When the ladies were dancing with their long skirts, their long trains, and they lifted them up to enable them to dance, to twirl around. So let's just see how it works. It goes down, and the lady would lift the skirt and then attach it to her belt, and the skirt would be held up. So it's quite an interesting little item, really. I think it's probably late Victorian to going into Edwardian. I would put it late 19th century. Do you know how much money you want to get for it?
I've got an idea.
Have you? Well, I quite like it. It's a little quirky item. I'll put down a few pounds. It will be a few pounds, and see where we go.
Okay.
So, £20 for your skirt lifter.
No?
No?
No,
not
20.
at all?
Not 20, no.
How about £30 for your skirt lifter?
A bit more.
A bit more?
A bit, well...
I think £35 for your skirt lifter. Now that's about where I want to be on this item. It's a nice little thing, but it's not terribly valuable.
You couldn't go a bit more?
I think I'm going to stick at 35. I do quite like it, but £35 is where I see it.
Helen's a very canny dealer, you see, and the estimation on this is about 30 to 50. And I think the offer of 35 is quite canny because it's kind of on its money. But, you know, Helen might have another idea for that because her chap's here behind the scenes, and I believe he wears a kilt sometimes. And as well as being a skirt lifter, he could also be a kilt lifter. Any chance for a little bit more to sway it, another £5 or something?
I think for all that story and having listened to it and the thought of lifting Jim's kilt, I think maybe another £5 will swing it. There you go, for lifting Jim's kilt. Have we got a deal?
I'm okay with that, yes.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing in such an interesting object.
Okay, thanks.